Today we're gonna analyze the relationship of two of the three main characters in GTA 5, Michael and Trevor, and figure out whether they're actually friends or not, at various points. So starting with before the game, this one is probably the easiest one to knock out since when you look at the prologue, it's clear that when Michael quote-unquote dies, Trevor is genuinely sad that he lost Michael, and when you take into consideration that they've been through God knows what over the last 10 years or more, you can conclude that they are at this point genuinely friends, especially when looking at Trevor, who I do think that he did at this point, like he said, consider Michael his best friend. And when it comes to Michael, well, still, I do think that he did consider Trevor his friend, but he did also set him up because he had to protect his family at this point. Trevor was even closer with Michael's family and whatnot, and seeing his kids as the children he himself never had, of course, that's how he saw Michael's kids. So I doubt that Michael would really have let someone like Brad meet his kids. But Trevor, on the other hand, I mean, like, sure, he was scary and whatnot, but Michael still trusted him enough to introduce him to his family. And one last thing that's really important in my opinion is if Michael really didn't consider Trevor a friend, he would have killed the guy himself, but I believe he just couldn't bring himself to do it, and that's why he did the whole thing with Dave and whatnot. Because if Dave did the killing, if he killed Trevor, at least Michael wouldn't have to do it himself, right? Now let's talk about the events before the mission, Fame or Shame. So as for Michael, this one is really cut and dry. During this time, Michael actually thought that Trevor was dead, so there's not much to say here. But as for Trevor, when he realizes that Michael's alive, when we first meet him in the first scene, when we see Trevor, he looks genuinely like shocked, and he does everything he can to track him down. Now this section is a bit more complicated as Trevor does seem angry at Michael, and he has every right to be. After all, his best friend didn't really reach out to him for all these years, but he himself still says to Ron that Michael is his friend. Also, if you're enjoying this video right now, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would help me out a lot. Also, feel free to check out my channel memberships that are going to be linked down below. Okay, one last thing I want to ask you guys is to go either down to the description or the pinned comment below this video and check out my NordVPN affiliate link, because to be honest, that's gonna keep my fridge full for a little bit. Thanks. Moving on to Fame or Shame, where the two reunite, and this one is again more tricky than not. As you can see, the two aren't really completely on good terms, if that makes sense. Michael is clearly kind of scared of Trevor and is kind of defensive a bit towards him, saying things like, who the fuck are you to tell me how to live my life and raise my kids and so on. So things aren't totally clear. And as for Trevor, he is glad that he reunited with his friend in a way, but he seems to be, at least to some degree, kind of holding a grudge a bit, but he's not really showing it, but he is, and it's all a whole real shit show. And he's not totally convinced with Michael's I'm in witness protection shit. But as of right now, things are more or less cool, and Trevor has no reason to distrust Michael. And now from Michael's point of view, he's fucking shitting himself, and he immediately calls Dave, and in Dead Man Walking and in By the Book, he's like, Trevor's a problem, he's always talking about Brad. So Michael's not really too happy about this reunion at first, but I do think that by the Merryweather heist, that changes, and this is where I really start to like these two as a duo. Here you see that dynamic I always talk about of poking fun at each other and arguing and whatnot, but at least in my eyes, the whole thing still has a friendly tone to it. Like, clearly most of this is just banter, and there's not really that hatred that we'll see for a bit later in the game, and this shit results in some of the funniest scenes in the entire game, such as the Merryweather heist or the Polito score scene, or when Trevor sarcastically calls Michael General in Blitz play. And by this point, they clearly are friends. That shit comes crashing down like a plane with two drunk pilots. In the best mission in the game, aka Bury the Hatchet, shit gets heated as Michael's trying to play dumb, and Trevor finds out the truth about the fact that Brad's dead and that he's in Michael's grave. This of course leads to my favorite scene in the game, which is of course the intense standoff at Brad's grave. The sparks are flying, difficult things are said, and they almost shoot each other at one point. Now we know that Michael gets snatched by the Chinese after this and whatnot, and from here up until, well, pretty much the big one, or at least until the wrap-up mission, it does genuinely seem like these two are done, that they would kill each other, with Trevor saying that Michael's dead to him and that if he sees him again, he'll kill him, and Michael saying that Trevor's not going to get anywhere near him. And this is actually, like, with 100% certainty, a point in the story where not only are these two not friends, clearly, but they outright hate each other. And this does not last for long. Only from Bury the Hatchet to the wrap-up is really the part in the story where it's really bad and it does genuinely seem like they would kill each other. And now comes the most wholesome yet the most what the fuck moment of the entire game. Just as Michael is pretty much about to get turned into Emmentaler cheese by a Merryweather helicopter, Trevor saves his ass, and now comes this arc that lasts for a short while where these two are as funny as they are annoying at times, as they're always just in each other's faces, shouting at each other, and can't go 5 minutes without firing shots at one another, to the point where Les and Franklin have to be all like, "Shut the fuck up!" And this is still more enjoyable than not. And by no means are they good friends at this point. They don't really want to kill each other, sure, but they don't hold back when it comes to openly being assholes when they shouldn't be, even in serious situations such as when everyone's planning the big one. Of course they gotta go in and like bicker and shit. Now where this all chills out a bit in my opinion is the final mission, specifically in the later stage as the mission literally starts with them about to shoot each other again, and with guns again like in North Yankton pointed at each other. And honestly, while I do think that if Franklin didn't show up at the right time, things could have gotten really ugly, I do think that even here they wouldn't have killed each other. That's just my opinion. Like, if they were going to kill each other, it would have been right at Brad's grave in the heat of the moment. But since they couldn't really bring themselves to do it then, I doubt that they would have done it here and now, but I wouldn't really completely drop that possibility either, to be clear. And what kinda surprises me is that later on, after they all clear out the foundry of the FIB and Merryweather guys, that dynamic of them kind of bickering and the funny banter from the early game seems to be making a return. Same goes for the very last scene of the game, as well as the hangouts you can do after the game's story ends. But the big question of the video here is, of course, at this point, are they friends? Definitely, I would say yes. And this is cemented in the final hangout conversation where they genuinely apologize to one another for what they did, and it seems like they moved on totally from the hatred and are actually best friends, even more so than they were back in the day. And I know someone's gonna point to them constantly arguing in hangouts, either when it's just them two or with them and Franklin, and to this I say that all of that banter and poking fun should not be taken too seriously, as it seems, at least in my eyes, a lot more friendly here and a lot more comparable to the early parts of the game. I mean, after all, have you never called your best friends a pussy or a psycho? Okay, maybe not that second one. Maybe me and my friends are just deranged, who knows. But with that said, I want to thank you for watching this little bit of a GTA 5 lore video. This is one of my favorite lore videos I've done in a fat minute. I hope you guys also enjoyed it. Leave a like on it, like I said, and leave your thoughts and opinions on this video and this topic in general in the comments down below. Always love to read them and reply to them. Until the next video stream, bye bye.